What's up, everybody? We are live, back with another show. Yeah, how's everyone doing? Kind of had to move the show back so I could get Danny on with me. She's going to jump on here in a minute. Man, it seems as though the spillover from the games is going to go on for a very long time. That's kind of still the focus of everyone's topics right now. So, Danny and I kind of had a long talk about where to aim this channel if we want to try to grow it and talk about things that are going to help people out. And so we decided to start to lean into more of what has made us, successful for ourselves in the CrossFit space, and that's our affiliates. What's up? Yeah, everybody's live. I know. There's so many people doing shows these days, which is freaking awesome, but it is impossible to not step on each other's toes. It's impossible. It is what it is. The great thing about it is it's recorded. You can come back and listen later whenever you want. But anyway, leaning into what's kind of made us successful in the CrossFit space, and that's our affiliates, the way we've kind of built our process in running our gyms, how we run multiple gyms at once, and how we shape partnerships with other people who help or are part of the ownership team in different gyms. And today specifically, kind of the thought behind maybe programming in gyms. And that's usually a pretty hot topic. Extra sloppy is staying. Cool, man. Appreciate it. We'll see who else wants to hop into. So yeah, I'll let Danny run wild with the conversation, take it any direction she wants when she gets on here in a couple minutes. But basically, the big thing that I always think about when we're programming for our gyms and the 50 something other affiliates around the world that follow Jumpship's class program is the average person that walks into an affiliate needs to move. Right? They come to us for exercise. They need to move. They want our expertise. They want the community and group feel of class that kind of keeps them inspired, accountable, all those things. But there's such a vast spectrum of what we see in terms of programming. If you follow the .com style, the CAP programming that CrossFit puts out, you see it's very simple. It's very traditional in the one workout of the day usually. They do give you some bit of a lesson plan that you can follow, but it's usually one piece and everything's centered around there. But the problem is a lot of times if you have one piece in a day, we do vary our domain. So if you have a 2 to 5 minute sprint style piece like a Fran or another benchmark versus a 30-minute Metcon, you're going to get two very different styles of classes. And not that you shouldn't train that stuff, but there is a 60-minute window that we're filling with our athletes. And I'll get more into that in a second. Hello.
What are you boring these people with?
I'm boring them with just talking about class programming a little bit. How, our take certainly is that the people coming into our classes are more general fitness people in the sense that they just need to move around. And I think people get too obsessed with how much structure or coaching or whatever goes into a class as opposed to just making the focus on having people who are out of shape, need to lose weight, need to progress, need to get stronger, just move more often. I think we get hung up on coaching a bit much, or at least the coaching styles maybe a little too talkative and not enough like getting people through reps while they're coaching, that sort of thing.
Dang, yeah, that's so annoying.
What's annoying?
Just those coaches just want to just coach. Yeah. That was you for a while though, and I used to get so mad at you about it.
Yeah, I'm still an over talker. That's why I have a show.
You're an over talker, but yeah, these people, especially, the people that are coming in there, the normal people, they got to move. Like they should be moving for a whole hour.
Yeah, pretty much. So how do you feel about the 10 to 12 minute whiteboard explanation that you see in a lot of gyms?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, you haven't been into a gym where someone, they're chatting at the whiteboard and then they start talking about the workout and then they start demoing every single movement at the whiteboard, like, grabbing the PVC pipe and then this movement looks like this and then that movement looks like this and then later we're going to do this and then this is this and if you need a scale, you do this.
I'm sure I have, but I can tell you I'm not paying attention. And
if that's going on, that is going on at lots of gyms.
If I was in a class like that, I 100%. Now that you're saying that, probably would have walked away and would have been stretching or moving, or I would have jumped on a bike. I'm just like, I'm not listening to this. And I'm sure that all the other people are standing there just like, and like talking to their friend because they're bored.
And so, I mean, I know you can use all the examples of classic overtalker on me, even though I'm not even close to the worst at that. But like, I try to engage people with some kind of joke or even a slightly off-putting like jab to see. Well, I want to see. I want to see who's paying attention. It's just an attention getter so that I can fly through the explanation after and get people to the warm up. Because if you don't,
the jokes aren't good.
My jokes aren't good. I get it. But if they're not paying attention, you don't do anything to get their attention, then you're going to be re-explaining it 2 or 3 more times as opposed to just delivering it once quickly and fast, like and effectively, I should say.
I mean, that is what I like. Okay, fine. The whiteboard thing's annoying, but I still just think the general consensus thing that the coaches need to remember is like, you have these people, many of them, again, maybe they sit at desks all day or whatever. They're not moving. And now you bring them into the gym and you're just having them stand there and talk to them. And then you want to like have them do like some reps with like a PVC pipe. And they're just kind of like they need to like do something, like make them do something.
See, we have some people agreeing. Extra sloppy, 5 minutes tops. Yeah, I wish that was the case all the time. James O'Rourke, if I'm at the whiteboard longer than 5 minutes, you lost me. We know that, but coaches, I think, have a tendency to be like, okay, I have to explain everything now at the whiteboard because this might be the only time they're going to listen to me, because they're not great at maybe gathering attention the rest of the class, or they just don't have good command of the class, basically. But I agree. Like, once you're there and you've done whatever you've done to get people's attention, you have 4 to 5 minutes to thoroughly dive through everything, including if you want to give variants and modifications up there that people should be already thinking about, but you go right into it and then you get moving. Hey, question. What do you think about doing a warm up and then taking them to the whiteboard after? I know some gyms do that too.
I mean, we'll do that in our classes, especially if they're back to back. Well, a half warm up being like, okay, go for a run if like things are still hectic, and then they come back.
Yeah. As like create time.
I don't think is the worst thing in the world, especially like out here in Hawaii, everyone's like 5 minutes late. It's just like how it is. So it's kind of like, sure, those people are kind of like missing their run, but then at least they're not coming into an actual warm up completely confused about what the entire workout is that day.
Very true. I mean, you're going to explain it twice anyway. Like that's a
fact. You're going to explain it 40 times. You're not explaining it twice. You're explaining it 500 times.
Twice was a nice way to say no one's paying attention to you.
What I always say when we're coaching is like, I'm literally just like, if you're confused about this workout, just do these movements until the time is up. Just do as many as you can, because like you're just still going to get a good workout. And like, we don't ever care about people's scores, like really ever. So it's just like, oh, you screwed it up. I don't care. Just go. Don't come. Oh, what did I do? Just go, just exercise. Like, no, like it doesn't matter. You're here to work out. You
brought up a very challenging topic, scores in a class. So how important do you think that like keeping either a log on the whiteboard or in an app, how important do you think a leaderboard is for your affiliate?
0%.
Do you say 0% because you don't like it, or you think that it holds no value for your gym?
I like both. I think it's both, with the exception of tracking like strength numbers. I don't think that 99% of the people who are coming into our classes need to ever, I mean, we've seen it a million times that people are cheating. Then, oh my God, they didn't do the right range of motion. Oh, that's not RX. Like, shut up. Like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
So like across our 5 gyms, there's definitely gyms that really care about their scores, and they're asking people in the morning what they got so they can try to beat it in the afternoon. And there are gyms that don't even realize that you're supposed to score your workouts with half the members there. They don't realize that they're supposed to keep counting or a time or anything like that.
The athletes that are so obsessed with knowing other people's scores are the ones that are either, again, generally, but like they're the ones who are going to cheat because they want to be able to beat their friends or come close to their friends, or they're going to, cheat range of motion because they want to like beat their friends. Or if you actually really seriously need that much, like if you need somebody else to motivate you that much, then that's like another problem. Like, I just feel like you should be able to you got to just go do your best that day, especially like there's so many more elements that go into like a regular member's life of work, family, kids, like whatever, like don't need to be trying to race somebody else. They just need to give their effort that day.
The only thing I would say that the whiteboard does help with is sometimes it's hard to provide goal times or target times to better explain the stimulus of the workout. And sometimes when a couple classes go through, if I looked at the whiteboard and said, oh, it took Matt 7 minutes and 20 seconds and Steve 9 minutes and 30 seconds, I know I'm somewhere between Matt and Steve. Now I know about how hard I should be going or about how I should be pacing things. So I could use it as a tool.
I don't disagree. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Right.
But I still don't think I would ever be like, let's start writing everybody's names down and get scores for that one thing. Like, that doesn't seem worth it to me. I feel like I just feel like I've just seen it so many times. Or then the people who like there's been gyms that we've had in the past where people would be so embarrassed about having their name put on the board that they would cancel memberships over it because they couldn't fathom that. Yeah, literally. Like I
remember those emails. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, who cares? Like after all those years of that, it's just like, what value does it actually really provide? And if we do a better job, just like coaching and engaging with the members, which we've done with a lot of people, no one at our gyms cares, which is awesome. Like, sure, they might talk about scores and like they might, people will compare times and ask each other and stuff, but like it doesn't go and like I don't think if anybody puts it anywhere except like again lifts. Like I do like that people keep track of their numbers. That's fine.
I agree. And lifts are that's actually what I've told classes the last few months, especially up at the North Shore gym where some of the athletes might be newer or they just don't really they're still trying to wrap their head around what we're actually doing in there with our programming and training. And so I always tell people, just remember your lifts. If I know your lifts, I can give you about what weight you should use on the Metcon. I can give you about where you should be starting on your front squats after. Like I can give you a good starting point if you just remember your heavy lifts. And so if people start to learn that, you can set them up for everything else from there, basically.
I think what's tough about even tracking the lifts or tracking people who track their workouts, they get very like, even if they're not like trying to cheat for the top time or whatever, like they start to compare themselves with themselves, which isn't always the best when it comes to like exercise. Like you just, you have a good day and you have a crap day and then you retest Fran and you don't know why you're 30 seconds slower. Like you shouldn't go into the gym and leave bummed out. Like what the hell's the point of that? If that's the case, like I ain't going that day. Like, you know what I mean?
I think those people also have I understand why they'd be disappointed, but they don't have the full picture in mind the way they should. So they're not really approaching training correctly if they, get bummed out after a retest. Instead, they should be, and I'm not telling you this, but they should be looking at what factors led to them to be slightly worse than last time. What changed in their life, what can they improve from it to continue to get better moving forward. But people don't do that. They get obsessed with their score and that's it. They're just something's working. I need to change my programming. I need to change my gym. I need to do this or whatever, instead of being like, okay, what factors in my life led me to now be less successful today? And sometimes it's just, I didn't sleep for shit last night. So it can be that simple. Okay. Do you know who this is? We have to guess.
Nope.
Identify yourself, 808.
Where does the standards come in? What does that mean?
Maybe the RX weights or moves. I'm not sure. Let's go. I'll have to explain a little more. Okay. So the big topic here, like we're kind of getting into it with setting up class, is class programming itself. So I think there's like two camps of people when it comes to CrossFit. I think there's a lot of older school affiliate owners, even though we both would probably fall in that category, of people who think that class should be a one and done. Coaching is the primary focus of everything. That's how the 60 minutes should be run. We don't do that in terms of our programming. We do 2 pieces almost every day. We program 6 days a week we program, and then most days are 2 pieces. Usually it's a Metcon, then a strength portion that usually coincide with each other in different ways. So the argument is, can you coach enough in your classes if you're doing 2 pieces? Is there enough time to actually coach to better athletes if you have two individual things per 60-minute session? Thoughts on that?
Well, the other side of that is like if CrossFit was ever just like main site, like a one piece, like whatever, CrossFit affiliates, I don't think would be in business. Like they'd be.
If we all had to use main site as our program, it'd be a struggle these days. I agree.
So that's, I think, where like the 2 piece a day thing kind of comes in, is like, it has to be entertaining. It has to be fun, or else people aren't going to take an hour of their day. They're going to do some other activity. So that's kind of like the simple thing. I think the way that we kind of instruct people to sort of coach is like pick a focus of the day sort of thing. So no, you're not going to coach through every single movement. There isn't enough time for that. But I do think people, again, are going through a foundations type program or something, so they kind of already know, like, certain scaling options and stuff like that. And then trying to give like a little bit of time to warm up, obviously, each movement. But I think kind of just, again, choosing a focus is kind of more important. And again, it keeps people moving that entire hour. They, at the end, like they're all looking at their Apple Watches and whatever to see how many calories they burned and all this other stuff. So it's like, if you have them just sitting there watching you just demo toast bar progressions for 20 minutes, like, I don't know. And how many people are really going to have a breakthrough every time you do that? Not that many.
Right. I'm trying to like pull up some stuff here we can use as an example later. So I think the thing is, you have 60 minutes total, right? And that's to get all your exercise and your learning in. The problem is if you try to teach too much in a 60-minute window, if you overload an athlete with cues, movements, things to learn, they will take nothing away. They won't take something away. They'll take nothing away because they'll be so overwhelmed. They won't have any one thing that they're focusing on getting better on. And we know from all the books I've read about practice, all the articles I've read, things, the way that our brain works to be stimulated to get better at something and adapt, you have to be focused and practice one particular thing. And so when we give someone 7 different cues for 4 different movements and we expect them to apply them and make a noticeable difference, a lot of times it may stick for a second, but it won't carry over to the next class or the next time they do that movement. And so if you really just pick one thing, kind of like you said, and you hone in on that one skill, maybe there's shoulder to overhead in the Metcon, and then we're doing heavy push press after. If you're just dialing in their dip drive, keeping the chest vertical, focusing on driving those legs, and you're just really dialing in the dip drive, it carries over to both parts, the Metcon and the lift, does a lot of the teaching and explaining in itself, and is something that they can remember what the focus you gave them was the next time it comes up and then progress. If you have muscle ups and power snatches and box jump overs in a workout, and you try to teach every variation and every skill and every drill of the muscle up, and then teach 3 different ways that you can power snatch that light weight to be more efficient, and then teach 4 different footwork patterns on the box jump over, you have screwed your athlete for the whole day. You've screwed them.
And in that, the muscle up example, I'm just like thinking at like some of our gyms, you could spend 30 minutes of class going over the muscle ups, and in some of our classes, like, no offense to these athletes, but they're not even getting any better at any of that today. Like, it's just like,
agreed.
Like, so I don't know. You talk about those like higher skill movements. I hate to say you either kind of like have it or you don't, but like those athletes that are like close to getting their ring muscle up, they're usually very determined to get it. So they're spending more time before or after class working on some of those drills or asking for extra help. You don't need to drill your entire class while everybody else is standing there bored out of their freaking mind,
right,
that they can't even do a ring support, and they're just standing there staring at you while you're trying to help like a more advanced athlete. Like,
right. But those are also the athletes that are willing to do more challenging variations or modifications in the workout. So like you mentioned, ring support, whereas when muscle ups come up, probably 4 out of 5 affiliate members that don't have them just go, okay, pull-ups or ring rows, here we go, same thing.
And they're fine with that. They don't even, they're not there yet, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But what I'm saying is they're not willing to even take the step towards the ring muscle up mentally. That 1 out of 5 or whatever that is will want that more challenging variation and can take it on. Whereas the rest, again, we're going back to just getting them moving through good range of motion. It's totally
in
fine.
My opinion, that's like shit coaching if you're going to stand there and help that one athlete that's near getting a ring muscle up and having your other class of 10 people just staring at you.
You don't have, well, that's stupid. When time, well, I agree if that's how you set it up, but that doesn't have to be how you introduce that to them. But anyway, that's right. If you just make everyone else stand around while you teach one modification to one athlete, that's pretty stupid. I agree with that. Okay, so coaching kind of tackled there a little bit. Picking one thing per day that can help with both the Metcon and the strength is probably your best bet. Or if the strength is more so obvious about like let's say it's a deadlift or whatever. Obviously, you can give a million cues on a deadlift as you walk around and people are lifting. So you don't really have to hit that as part of the coaching lesson right away. You kind of would pick one of the movements in the Metcon that you might want someone to improve on, and you both use that skill drill session as part of the warm up before you start the Metcon. So anyway, you kind of pick that low hanging fruit, coach that, and then when it comes to strength stuff, my favorite thing to do is you make sure they get warm in the Metcon, so you don't have to do a ton of extra warming up. But if it's like a snatch day or like a split jerk day, I do a couple empty bar reps just to drill and make sure people are moving respectably. But the rest of my coaching is done while the session's going on. And I think that's where people miss out. They think they have to coach the movement before the session and then they have to like set them free. But I like to set up the structure of the program so that I have time between reps to actually give feedback on to athletes.
What?
Did you fall asleep? What I'm saying is
for a moment.
That's okay. So what I'm saying is, let's say it's an every 2 minutes you're going to hit a set of front squats or something.
Okay.
I'm going to go around and let them hit their set. And within that rest window, I can give feedback. I don't have to teach the whole front squat and every part of the front rack I want them to improve, and every new foot position I want them to try. I don't have to give them every cue leading into the front squat. I can cue them between sets as they're going, whereas other people try to teach the whole thing before they start the clock or get them lifting.
Oh, I thought you were asking a question.
I was just stating how I do it. Do you have anything to add to it? Oh my goodness.
That makes sense.
Worst co-host ever. Yeah, exactly. All right. 808 is you guys were talking about not caring about leaderboards because people will cut range of motion, cheat, etc. Does eliminating the leaderboard make class more about exercising and sweating for 60 minutes by any means necessary? Just wondering about the more serious athletes and where they would go to find competition.
I mean, our Kailua gym, like I always think is like a great example of this. Like they're all super competitive with each other, and I'm sure they all share scores and everything, but they're not posting their scores like no one's posting scores. And I feel like it's like the posting where it like becomes like permanent on the internet that like makes people feel like they need to like lie kind of.
And I think the leaderboard itself, like the public leaderboard within like Watify or whatever else, it is good to see kind of where people are compared to you, but also a lot of it is, I'm only going to post today if my score is in the top 5 or top 3, and I'm not going to post the days I'm not, because this is about me putting myself out there and letting other people like judge my score. So that's where we're trying to take that away from people. Be like, that's not what this is about at all. Now, like you had said,
this one, does eliminating the leaderboard make class like more about exercise sweating? I like sort of like for the people who don't care, they don't feel any pressure to like put this like elite score. And the people who do care are still super competitive with each other. Like, and it's great and it works really good. I mean, every time that I'm doing a workout or whatever, I'll ask my couple people, what did you get on this, whatever. So then like, beat them by 10 seconds. So I get that, but I'm not like, I don't ever like put it somewhere. I don't know.
And I know that our sentiment's not shared by everybody, because a lot of online programs or other gyms like live or die by the leaderboard. It's like it's like one of the community gathering points. Everyone like prays to the great leaderboard and they all check it 1,000 times a day. What I'm saying is that's not the most healthy way to train. And because most people don't use it as just a small tool as part of their goal setting for that day, it becomes more of the obsessive thing than maybe fixing your false grip or changing your setup position. Like you're focusing on the wrong things is all I'm saying. To be competitive, you focus on yourself, you work hard, you get better, and then your scores naturally improve, not worrying about whether you beat somebody or not. Like that's the point I think I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I like the bus stop technique. If they reach the movement, they'll do during the workout while they're working through the progressions, and they stay and keep doing that while more people advance. Yeah. So that's how I teach progression. So like if I'm doing, for example, quick example, toes to bar, you do the basic kip swing, then you do the bigger kip swing where you get the torso further back behind the bar with that like moment of weightlessness at the back. Then you add the knee tuck, then you add the kick, and then you add kind of linking them together. And you'll take people as far as you can take them through that progression, and then they stop at where they are for the workout. Yeah, good example of that. Mike, it's hard to be competitive when there's no one else in my age group. So I'm okay with being the last old guy. That's fair, Mike. You're holding up the base, Mike. You're holding up the base down there. It's okay.
That's also like, that's a good point. Like just age and like there's so many factors that go into like why there's no point in comparing your score against somebody else's. And then I also think if you're just out to be the top time in the leaderboard, are you always holding yourself back from what you actually can do because you just need to finish in like whatever time just to be the top scorer or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and that's a great point. One of the things I talk about, especially when I write notes in for my one-on-one athletes, is I'm like, the time doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how you approach this movement or how you pace this part of it or that you finish in negative splits. So when you get to the point in your training, even if you're even if you're doing affiliate class and not like having a one-on-one coach, learning how to set yourself up for each Metcon and strategizing properly is way more important than just finishing first. Way, way more important. Okay, so we kind of got off track there. Back to the one piece versus two piece programming. So if you were going to do one piece a day, which I know we don't, how would you find a way to do a heavy day? So this is one of the topics that come up a lot on some of the other shows I'm on when I talk about this stuff. People are huge fans of heavy days. It's a very important part in CrossFit literature. They talk about just doing heavy days as part of class or even .com. Like, how would you approach a heavy day to make it fun?
Why can't you do like a Metcon after a heavy day?
You can. That's what we do. But I'm saying, they don't.
We do it the other way.
Right. We have both. But we do. But a lot of times they don't. They just want a heavy day, a single stimulus heavy day. And
that's so boring.
Is it effective though? You'd cancel your membership.
I would, if that was a gym that I was going to, that's what they're doing, I would cancel my membership. Because I can pay. Like I personally, I wouldn't see any value in needing to do that versus going to a global gym with a platform and doing it on my own.
Well, you're getting coaching. That's
sometimes you're not.
Well, I hope so. Well, okay, let's use our gyms as an example. If I'm in there coaching somebody trying to fix setup,
if you were programming single pieces, I think we'd lose half our membership.
That's not what I'm asking, but you're probably right. We'd have a lot of class cancellations because people come to us who have similar thoughts about how a class should run as us, right? We're attracting the people who agree with us. But if you had to, I'm trying to make a point with this. I want you to kind of just play with my.
No.
Okay.
The other thing with a heavy day, again, if you're talking about general population, like it's all relative, right? So you take an older like person or somebody like I always say my mom, because she's a CrossFit athlete. What the hell would she do in a heavy day? Her 10 rep max is the same as her 1 rep max. And she's a paying customer. But I just think, I can't like pick a number, but like a lot of people in your class like can't get the proper stimulus out of a heavy day. They just can't.
I agree.
So you take my mother who squats like shit because she's old, and it's like, what is she getting up? Like,
well, hopefully we're making her squat better.
Okay, she's been doing CrossFit for 10 years. Has her squat gotten any better? Maybe a little bit,
yeah.
But she's not getting value out of a heavy day. She honestly thinks her 1 rep max weight is the same as her 10 rep. She can't understand how that makes no sense.
Okay, but you can't just use one example as the rule.
Again, I'm thinking about our classes in general. It
depends on the gym, right? It depends on our gym, but I agree. So if
we talked to our Kailua gym, I'd say like 50% of the people could get a really good stimulus out of it, and like 50% would kind of either not show up that day and go for a run, or wouldn't really benefit from it.
That would definitely happen. 50. Yeah, they would definitely go for a run after.
Heavy hitters would come in and throw down and have fun, and the regular people who want a good workout are not coming in that day.
But you also, you were right at the very beginning of this discussion is like, why couldn't you just do like a cash out Metcon after?
Wait,
and you
the
totally,
better part,
okay.
that if we programmed a heavy day at Kailua, 100% of the members would do something after. 100%.
No doubt. No doubt.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you programmed your heavy day, you wasted an hour of their time, and now they need to spend 30 more minutes in the gym because they didn't get a good workout. Every single person in there would do that.
So the argument that would be made against us from the CrossFit old school seminar staff, level 3, level 4, all those people, they would say, well, you're just not effectively giving them the right stimulus for the heavy day because you should warm them up really well. You should do so many drills with the barbell that they're tired. That's kind of like their low heart rate conditioning, and then they're doing their lifts. And if, they're working hard enough, then they're whatever they're going to say. So they're going to challenge back on that.
To get their heart rate up for an extended period of time. That's just it. It's too bad.
It doesn't have to be extended. It just has to get up. Because you could do a sprint.
5 seconds, which is a snatch.
Right.
I'm saying for longer than a lift.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've had this argument for years and years. Back with my last company, when we were building affiliate class, then I had the other coach who was writing it with me. He'd argue all day about trying to build in heavy days. And I have to say, if the member is not getting their heart rate up, they're going to feel cheated. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. That's what they feel. That's what they perceive. They've come to you to work hard and get their heart rate up. And so I always feel like there's a good balance you can put in there to give them that feeling of satisfaction after, on top of maybe hitting a PR and a lift. But again, you're trying to maximize 60 minutes. Some of the heavy days are 5x5 back squat, which is a gnarly strength session. But if you warm up in 10 minutes and you actually work through it, you could do a very aggressive 5x5 in 20 minutes. You could spend 20 minutes on that very aggressively, high end.
You could spend 40 minutes and put a 10-minute freaking little Metcon in there, and then it's fine.
Right. Yep. Agreed. So we're arguing against each other for the same thing for the sake of the show, but I know we're on the same page on this stuff. Okay, so that's our basic idea for why we would have 2 pieces most days as opposed to just a singular focus. You can't coach it all at once, and you're trying to maximize the amount of movement you can get your member to do in a 60-minute window without beating the hell out of them, obviously, so that they're making progress in all areas. And that's sort of what we've landed on then, about 2 pieces each day, each session. What else do you want to talk about? We're only 30 minutes in.
I don't know.
This is your show. You've convinced me to do a show about affiliates.
I didn't know we were talking about this. You told me we were talking about gym ownership.
Now we are.
No, you can't get into that now. You've already done what you've done.
All right, fine. Then I'll ask you one more question about programming. Where do extra pieces fit in for an affiliate member?
Need to fit in nowhere. But again, it's about making the customer happy. If they don't, I don't think people need it. I think, again, teaching them, again, with our program, it's like, I think with the Metcon followed by the strength, if they're going hard enough, like that's probably plenty. Like I don't normally ever do the extra piece, and I feel awesome after just doing the class program.
When you say plenty, as in like could easily train that way solely 4 to 5 days a week and crush quarterfinals? Not the second stage, not to get to semis necessarily, but just have a strong showing in quarterfinals.
No, but I didn't know we were now talking about the competitive class member.
Well, that's what extras are for.
Okay, then yeah, I mean, then whatever. I again, how many people in your class are, in a given membership base are actually shooting for that? Not that many. So I'm just right. I don't think that, again, the general amount of people that are in your gym, they need that, but I do like that we provide it. And I think that, again, just with our experience, people have become pretty good about not doing it on days that that their body's beat up or whatever. And then if they're feeling good and they want to do it, then they do it. Like, that's just what we've seen. I don't know. I don't even know how we've sort of like developed this like culture kind of, but it's like worked really well, where like the majority of people like aren't super obsessed with like their scores or their leaderboard placing. They don't, again, majority of people don't feel like they have to do every single thing that's on the whiteboard. You know what I mean? So
I do. I think our most successful culture has come from the Kailua gym. And I think a lot of that has to do with 2 things. One, we started to really break down people's thoughts on having to use RX things. We really got into modification with everybody heavily early on about how this is your jam. You approach it how you want. You pick the weight you want. This is how we're going to do it. Like, that's one. And two, it being such close quarters, people just accepting they're going to be working out with each other, on each other, getting it done has just brought people closer together and made them have more fun with that than worrying about where they stack up. Go ahead.
That is another super awesome thing about them not caring about the scores, is that the gym's small. So we often have to like partner people up, change the workout around a little bit, add rest in here to share equipment, and no one gives a shit, which is awesome because you're still leaving after a super good workout. Whereas like if we had the I have to go RX culture, we don't have the space for it. We don't have always a rower for everybody. These people will just like share barbells, share weights. Oh, I'll go lighter to work with this person. Like, and then everybody just gets a freaking awesome workout and leaves in a good mood every day. And it's just like, sweet. Like, this is great. The RX culture like makes that not possible because then somebody, oh, they only had an 18-pound wall ball left and I needed a 20. So now I didn't go RX today. So like my workout doesn't count. And it's just like, who cares? Not me.
That's true. And I guess that kind of ties back into what I was saying. Just having to work with each other all the time has just made it so those things just aren't important to people because it is still an issue in some of our other spots. People see the score, they see the workout and they think as it's written it has to be completed instead of people just thinking of these workouts as templates that should be used to guide you to get, the right workout for you. But, oh, wow, this is great. A guy last week had to RX Diane. Took him 35 minutes.
What the heck?
What's your longest Diane?
Mine? 2:10.
That's your slowest?
I think so. I don't know. Maybe that was my fastest. My slowest is probably like, I don't know, 4 minutes.
Oh, you're laughing. My slowest is like 8 minutes.
Right. So you should scale. Scale from the worst. Or don't, what's that quote?
Program for the best, scale for the rest.
Yeah. So you should be trying to meet my stimulus, which means you're doing empty bar deadlifts and push-ups and half range of motion push-ups.
Well, I didn't know well enough when I did that back in the day, but now I certainly would actually scale for sure. I would definitely scale. And what's funny is I'd scale the deadlift weight now. Okay. I try to tell him to fight another day at like 20 minutes. So I think we both have pretty good stories. We'll wrap with a fun little story since we did all that. What's a workout you saw somebody go way too long on that they just wouldn't give up when they?
That's such a hard question.
Well, I was throwing you a softball because I know you have one that stands out.
Sharon?
Yes.
I'll never forget Sharon. Oh,
what's the story?
45 years. What was the workout? 14.5? 14.1?
Was it the thruster burpee?
Thruster burpee. No time.
4 time. Yeah, 4 time. Yeah.
That was awesome. Took 3 judges to get her through that.
And she went RX, but was she like a smaller athlete or an older athlete or something?
Probably 30 to 40, smaller lady. That was her 1 rep max thruster for sure. Like, brutal. What a great day.
How did you? Was the first? I don't even remember. Was the first set 21 reps? Was it like go down by 3 or something? How long did it take her just to do the 21s?
Oh, I don't even remember. I didn't judge her. I remember Tapley was judging her for half of it, and he's like, I can't. Then like somebody else had to step in, and like somebody else had to step in. It was just rough. It was just rough. But this was like again the like scaling's not allowed culture,
Holly, man. Yeah, this one, if you don't have that heavy clean, or it's a heavy clean, right? It's like wall ball, push up clean or something like that.
Or something at every round.
It's a lot of rounds. And if you don't have that clean or it's like a 1 rep max, you might be there all day. Let's see. Do I have a good one? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure I had someone who did the same thing.
Some stupid stuff over the years.
I had someone do the same workout you were just talking about. He came in late too, as we were like just wrapping up our like Friday night lights or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And we're like, okay. And he like died on the round of 21. And then we all had to just sit there and like, cause like everyone's there, like cheering him on. So everyone's sitting around clapping for like 20 minutes. He's still not done. And we're just like, this is getting awkward now. Like we can't cheer him on anymore. He's like standing there. He won't do the reps. We're just like, and he finished, but I think it was like a 30-minute workout for him. Pretty awkward. Oh, that's pretty good. 30 minutes, 14 rounds left.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Guys, before we leave, are there any other gym topics you want us to do future shows on? So we want to talk. We're going to do a weekly show. Well, I'll do other shows too, but we're going to do a weekly show just talking about shit that's gone on in our gyms that we've seen over the years. We might do a whole show on the craziest emails we've ever received from members. We might do a show on best ways to run a competition in a gym. Like we'll do anything gym related.
Go over policies.
Ooh, that sounds boring, but probably important. We can go over the business side of things. Between Danny and I, we've either started, acquired, or sold 11 gyms across.
Which I think is a world record, but Seth seems to think somebody else out there has us beat. But I'm like, how?
I don't know.
11 affiliates? That's psychotic.
If it was just you, how many is it? It's that's a good one.
3.
Most entitled member requests. Oh my God. We'll have to think about that. There's been some crazy shit people have just decided they were going to demand from us.
That's brutal.
That is.
Hold on. I'm trying to think. Oh, speaking of, that guy told me he was going to put jerky in our vending machine, demanded it, and then never provided it.
Didn't he try to sell it like on the side, sneaky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
unbelievable, that guy.
Whole row, and I left him a whole row. And yeah. Wait, I'm trying to count. 1, 2, 3. That's 8 for me. 8 gyms for me.
Really?
Right?
3 in Maine,
5,
1 in Florida.
1, 2,
oh, yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8 for me.
So I think I'm at 9 total. Ooh, I like this topic. The reality of getting to profitability. Whoa, Peep's trying to get on the show. Yeah, that's a great topic that we can get into. Basically, this topic essentially revolves around how to treat your gym like a business and not like a hobby or a club, which is, I think, most gyms' biggest problem is it's a side hustle for somebody or a passion project and not a business. So there's definitely a lot of topics we could get into with that. Anything else, guys? Oh yeah, Puna's having a great time now that we're picking on him in the show. He loves being the star. Bring us some jerky, Puna. Okay. Any other last second show ideas before we leave you guys for the day? I know there's probably 1,000 other shows on that you guys can go watch, but thank you for tuning into ours. 1 more minute here. This is pretty good. Yeah.
What?
Vita wants to see the business side of things too. Where would you even start with that? If we're going to talk about the business of running an affiliate, where would you start?
Oh my gosh.
That's tough, right?
Yeah.
You could go everywhere from picking a location and having to really like estimate out leases.
Everyone just would say that I'm just a hater, but a lot of those like CrossFit affiliate business like companies, I like disagree with all of their stuff. Or maybe not all of it, but I disagree
not all
with
of it.
The main principles of it I do not agree with. And like we're out here running now like 11 successful gyms and don't do really any of the things they recommend, which I think is just
I think I hear you. We haven't used any of these other models, and frankly we haven't done enough research to even know the full model of these other companies because we've kind of done a lot of trial and error over the years. But we definitely have some tactics that we use that they probably use too, whether we even realize it or not. Because I've had people who have like talked to me about the business that I've thrown things at them, like, oh yeah, this is how we do that. And they go, oh, I saw that on this company, or I think this company did a podcast talking about that. And I'm like, well, I'm not surprised because it seems like that's the best way to do it. Yeah. So like, I think a lot of people are getting to the same answers and then just sharing them in different ways. But anyway, okay, that's good. I think we have some stuff to get into next time. Are we going to do this every Tuesday, or what's your plan? It's up to you.
I don't know.
Is that the goal? We'd like to.
You just canceled my nap for this, so.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she did give up a nap.
2 p.m. is my nap time, so this time's not going to work.
We'll try to do it earlier. Hopefully, things in the CrossFit world have calmed down a little bit, where everyone doesn't have to do emergency shows all day about things. Okay. All right, guys. We will talk to you next time. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, go subscribe. Please subscribe. It's all I ask. A little subscription here or there. And you can like the video too. But we will see you later. I'll be back later this week with another show. So I'll see you then.